Hey y'all, welcome to the Coyote Trapping School podcast. I am your host Chris Pope, and in today's episode I was going to talk through some of the survey results. So it's been maybe 3 weeks now, but I sent out a survey. I posted it on Facebook and then also sent it out to anybody that gets my emails, just kind of to give me a sense of what people are potentially looking for, how I may be able to better tailor content, and just kind of to get to know to know my audience, to know you and what you're, where you're at, and maybe what you're looking for as you look for trapping content online. And so I've had a really good response. I can't thank y'all enough, everybody that has completed the survey. And so like I said, I just wanted to go through a little bit of that, and I guess I'll start with saying, the reason that I started, producing content, putting videos online and putting information online has kind of always been to try to help people get started trapping. And that's still my goal. That's still my outlook, is I want to make it as easy as possible for somebody that's interested in trapping to get started, because I know from personal experience that it's a whole lot easier. It makes things a whole lot easier if you have somebody that can kind of show you the way and answer questions, and also that's kind of why I started doing Coyote Trapping School, is to help people. But as viewers and listeners and all has grown over the years, I talk with a lot of people that are trappers, and they just like watching trapping content, keeping just kind of more of an entertainment value, I guess you could say. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do, is kind of get a pulse of where maybe everybody's at. And so it was just a simple 4-question survey, and actually if you answered it early on, you may have missed one of the questions because I didn't add it till later, and that's one thing that I wished that I had done. I just kind of did this on a spur of the moment whim, and just thought about it, put it together and sent it out, and then after I thought about it for a few more minutes or a few more days and all, I kind of got to thinking, man, I wished I'd have put a little bit more time into planning and structuring these questions and all. And I actually had a few of y'all email me and say, hey, you asked this, but this is where I'm at. So that was very helpful. I appreciate everybody that did that. And so the opening question that I started with was, why do you trap? And the overwhelming majority of folks, they just quit. They answered 47% that I just love trapping. I just love to trap. And man, I get that wholeheartedly. That's where I'm at. That's why I trap, is because that's the best way to say it, is I just love it. I love the pursuit. I love the challenge. I love the maybe the in-tuneness. I don't even know if that makes sense when I say it like that, but just the way that I feel like trapping requires you to be so much more perceptive. I grew up a squirrel hunter and a deer hunter and a fisherman, and you didn't have to. You could get by or get away with not being that in tune to things, what's going on, and still you'd still be successful. And that's I grew up, man, I was a diehard deer hunter. I looked forward to deer season, and I absolutely loved when I was getting started and learning about things. And my dad, as we were walking through the woods, and he would point out a scrape or a rub, or we would find a trail or something, and trying to figure out where to hang stands, and that part to me, I guess maybe just in general, the sign reading, I really like that. And I think that's what I like about trapping, is you can't just run and jump in a tree, or You don't just go to a stand that's been sitting there for 10 years, and that's the whatever stand. That's Grandpa's stand, and just go there and you're gonna see deer or whatever. It's it's a constant thinking game and a constant challenge, and that's what I like about it. And that's probably partly why I've kind of lost my zeal for deer hunting. I think I could see that if I had a good property, that I had some pictures of a mature buck, and kind of trying to match wits and figure out how I could kill that buck. I could see where that would probably get me back intrigued, but at this point, I think I'm so entrenched in with the especially the chase of the coyote that it's tough for me to sit in a stand that long when I feel like I should be setting traps. So that kind of got off on a tangent, but I guess I said all that to say that that's where I'm at, with the majority of folks that just love to trap, and I'm going to be doing it rarely in Georgia. Am I making any money trapping? But I feel like I am improving my skills and knowledge of the woods, and another thing is just the amount of time that you're kind of by default forced to spend out, because if you got traps out, you got to check them every day, regardless of what the weather's doing, regardless of what's work's going on, regardless of anything. You are legally required to check those traps, and so whether it's before daylight, after dark, midday, whatever, you got to check those traps. And so just the by being out in the woods that much, just the different things that you see, I like that aspect too. So anyway, the other vast majority, 38% of people answered that they're a landowner or land manager, and that was kind of what I expected. I expected there to be I expected kind of probably honestly for it to be a little bit more skewed towards landowner, land manager, but I definitely that's a good it's a good chunk of the audience, and I like that just from the standpoint of that's what I went to school for. I'm a wildlife biologist by training, I guess you could say, and I don't get to practice that like I would have liked and like I envisioned, I guess, when I was in college. But I like that aspect and kind of staying in tune with that as well. The next question was, what's your trapping level? Just trying to get a sense of, again, where everybody's at. And so the vast majority, 52%, said they would qualify themselves as an intermediate trapper. They run a small trap line every year but have room to improve. And heck, I qualify myself as that. I by no means consider myself an expert, but I'm just far enough along that I feel like I have something to offer people that are behind me so far as in their trapping ability. And I definitely am right up there with still having plenty of room for improvement, and trying to improve every day on that. 30% said they would qualify themselves as a beginner, so they've set a few traps but struggle to make catches, and I can definitely relate to that too. And then 11% said they had never set a trap before. So that was interesting to know. The next question is one that I should have worded a little bit better, but overall I just said, what's your target animal? Coyotes, all predators, beavers, otters, or raccoons, and I should have put all fur bearers, because I think with the why do you trap, the overwhelming response of why do you trap, the overwhelming response would have been all fur bearers. But 57% of people answered all predators, and so that sounds about right. And then 32% said specifically coyotes was their target animal, which I can definitely see that, especially from the landowner standpoint. So no big surprise there that there's a lot more people that are concerned with trapping predators than they are beavers. Most people aren't worried too much about beavers unless they're a landowner and they got beavers flooding their timber or fields or something like that. And then the last question, excuse me, I bit my tongue. The last question, and this is one that I added after the fact, after I had actually a good many responses, so I hated that, but And I probably should have worded this one better, because I know there's people that are in different parts of the, I guess not the country, but the world. It was just kind of a where are you located question. And 35% of folks said in the Southeast, which is where I'm from, and I get that. A pretty good bit of just folks weighing in that they appreciate seeing somebody else from the Southeast, from the South, as I would consider it, trapping, because, I guess from the standpoint of financially or monetarily, there's not a lot of interest in the South from trappers, strictly from a fur sense, as much as there is from the North, where there's guys that are trapping to make money trapping up there, and so there's more people doing it and more people putting out content, versus in the South there's not a whole lot of people that are doing it and putting out content like I am. So 23% of people said they were in the Midwest, 15% in the Southwest, so I kind of took that as Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, kind of, and then 13% in the Rocky Mountain states. And like I said, I know I've got some folks in Canada, and probably some folks in Australia. I'm not sure how accurate some of the YouTube statistics are, but you look at the YouTube statistics, and there's like people in Iran watching my channel, and definitely some folks in Australia and some folks around Europe. So I don't know how accurate that is, but anyway, it was good to get a grasp. And I did a YouTube video I think it was last trapping season, just kind of asking folks to leave in the comments, hey, where are you from? And it was from all over the place, and definitely from overseas, and Norway and things. So that's always pretty cool to see, just a country boy from Georgia, and got folks from in different countries watching me trap. So that's pretty interesting. But so that's the survey was very brief, which I wanted to make it brief just to make it easily accessible, somebody could complete it in just a couple minutes, and so that was my goal, and that's what I did, and that gave me a lot of good information. So in going forward, I'm just kind of been trying to think through kind of the answers, the results from the survey, and how can I better focus and create content towards what y'all are looking for. And so one of the things, with 47% saying they just love trapping, and 52% considering themselves an intermediate trapper, so experienced in trap line prep and all that, that kind of tells me that there's a pretty good many of y'all out there that are just listening from I don't want to sound like this, but kind of more from an entertainment standpoint, about trap selection and all the basics of dying, and definitely folks are always have questions around those things, but from the getting started standpoint, all that's covered. So to me, in my mind, the way I'm thinking about this, and leave a comment if you're listening on YouTube, or shoot me an email if you're listening to this in a podcast. I'd love to get some more detailed feedback, but that's kind of my interpretation, is that there's a lot of folks that are just listening, just tuning in, and I've gotten that feedback from my daily trap line videos too, of hey, I love checking your trap line, because it gives me another trap line check after I check my trap line, or while I'm waiting to go check my trap line. So that was helpful, and then just looking towards content, and how I can better create content. And there's some folks that are, I guess 41% of folks that are in the early stages of becoming a trapper, and I've already got a lot of information, a lot of content available on it that's published now on how to get started. What does it mean to dye your traps, or which dye or wax or whatever should I use? And honestly, I get those questions a pretty good bit still. So, but the one thing that kind of intrigues me, and I'm been given more thought to, is just from the landowner management perspective. Like I say, I went to school to be a wildlife biologist, and that's not necessarily what I get to do day to day, but that is still definitely something that I enjoy. So in thinking about ways that I could better serve kind of that portion of the audience, and some content that I could put out there, I've definitely been thinking about that. And like I said, if you got any ideas, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear anything. My email is Chris, KRIS, at CoyoteTrappingSchool.com. One thing that I am excited about, kind of, I've been thinking about it for a while, but I'm excited about kind of rolling it out for this trapping season. And so I probably haven't been as good about making people aware, but I do currently have an online video-based course to walk people through getting started, specifically coyote and predator trapping. Is my Coyote Trapping 101 course, and it is geared very much for beginners, from the basics of setting a trap all the way through what to do, how to treat your traps, making sets, dispatching your catches, and dealing with your fur and whatnot after the fact. And so that has been available. That's been out there. That's just kind of a one-off course that's available for purchase, and you get a year's access to the videos, and it is what it is. And I'm not trying to say that negatively, because I've had a lot of good responses from folks that have gone through the course and actually gotten started trapping coyotes and caught coyotes going through that course. Because from my perspective, there's not a lot of trapping, and the trapping industry is kind of at least 10 years behind most other industries, and so there's not a lot of other kind of online based courses that I'm aware of for trapping. I know Clint Locklear put all of his information, all of his videos online, and so you can go and pay to have access to all of his videos. Outside of that, I don't know that there's many other places you can do that short of watching videos on YouTube. And again, between the YouTube videos and a lot of the just trapping DVDs and stuff that you can buy in the industry, there's not a lot of those that are start to finish trapping. A lot of those have a basic level of assumption that you know how to set a trap, or what stakes to use, what trap to use. And in my course in Coyote Trapping 101, I give very specific recommendations about these supplies, these things to use, instead of kind of leaving it out there. I feel like that's what folks are looking for. If you leave things up in the air, then people are kind of on the fence. Well, I don't know if I should go with this or this, and you don't wind up following through. Versus if somebody says, "Hey, this is what you need," bingo, I put that in the cart and I order it. So that's what I did with the Coyote Trapping 101 course, and but like I said, it's kind of been a standalone. You purchase it, you go through the course, and I've always been open for people to send me emails and ask me questions. But I am starting next. Let's see, what is. So I'm going to say October 21st. So this is being recorded October 14th. I'll try to have it posted the 15th. But on October 21st, I will have my Trappers Academy up and available. And what that is in going through this survey, there's a lot of beginners, but there's a lot of intermediate folks that are are setting a trap line, but they probably still they got some questions and run into things that they're not sure about. And so, in order to get both the beginners and kind of try to help that intermediate level, I'm rolling out what I'm calling the Trappers Academy. And so it'll have all the information from the Coyote Trapping 101 course, but I'm adding my ultimate goal, and it's going to take me through this trapping season to get there, but my ultimate goal is to have trapping start to finish for any animals. So, well, probably not like Fisher and Martin, but any animals that are in the southeast, beavers, otters, bobcats, foxes, raccoons. I want it to be just a ultimate trapper's resource of whether you are beginners or intermediate level. And so, like I said, I've got a coyote information in there, a bunch of what I call my predator set library. So it's got a bunch of different sets where you can just go and watch the videos of the different sets, and then beaver information on beavers and otters, and then coon will be coming up shortly. So I'm kind of building that out as we go. But then I also, in order to try to provide a little bit extra, just for, because I know that videos aren't going to answer everybody's questions, I'm going to also have at least twice monthly live question and answer calls. So this will be a members only access, but where and during trapping season we may wind up bumping it up to one time a week. It just depends on how many people are attending and the level of questions. But I want to be there and be able to answer questions that folks have as they are going through their trapping season. I think that would be as close as you could get to a trapping mentor is what I'm trying to kind of make this program, and to there again help folks maybe get over that hump of where they're at. If they can't quite make the catch, or they're having problems or whatever. So and part of the driver for this is, especially this past year, and I expect it to get even more so this coming season. It got to the point where I was between YouTube questions and Facebook questions and Instagram questions. I mean, there was nights I'd spend an hour to 2 hours just answering questions, folks trapping questions, and that's what I started this. That's what I want to do, but I can't get everybody, and so to be able to try to focus and give as many people as I can the best answers and the best guidance that I can. This is where I'm at. This is what I've come up with. So I'm gonna roll it out, like I said, in October, and we'll go. It's gonna be a year-round program because you've got the land management, you've got the spring and summer predator control, predator removal, and then I'll also, as we get into the summer, or the spring and summer, also probably start adding in kind of some ADC and some nuisance trapping videos and content as well for folks that may be interested in starting or growing a wildlife control business. As that's what I've been doing over the last year, and still working towards that. So that's what I've got coming up that I've been pretty excited about trying to get together. I've been trying to get things together on the back end, and it'll be continuing to evolve as the trapping season goes on. But the Trappers Academy, I'm really excited about that. Really excited about rolling that out, and hopefully I can help a lot more people get over the hump and get where they're wanting to get to with their trapping. But they're trapping their goals and whatever. So look to hear more about that in the next episode as I roll that out, and shoot me a question, shoot me an email if you've got questions about that. And that kind of wraps it up for today. That was, like I said, just going through the survey and trying to get a feel for what I can do, how I can better serve serve y'all, the trappers and the folks that are listening. Man, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for listening and tuning in and leaving comments and feedback and answering surveys. It really does help, and it sometimes it gets kind of wearisome, putting in the work and posting the videos and taking a few extra seconds while you're setting up your traps or setting up your trap line or whatever to turn the camera around and turn it on. But I'm always glad that I did when I do, and so I can't thank y'all enough for following along and supporting. For those of you that have bought the trapper's bag or any of my wallets, man, I appreciate, and for those that are watching, I appreciate and listening, y'all too. So good luck this season. It's here, and I hope you knock it out of the park. And tag me with your catch pictures. I'd love to see what you're out there catching. We'll catch you next time.